hate myself.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount.
I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
You got a lot of problems, don't you?
Oh, it's good to be back.
I don't know. You don't know?
It means I'll go fuck yourself.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
You can't handle the truth.
We're back. 64. The top 100's over. I didn't have to watch any movies for this. It was great. This is a kickback, relax show. I'm going to have some fun tonight. Couldn't do it without my panel that's been here the entire time, except last week. Koho, how you doing? It has been a journey through the 2010s. We are capping it off tonight.
We are.
Do you feel like you're great? First, I want to go around and ask everybody what they think their grade is going to be tonight. Just throw out a letter grade. We'll see how everybody's feeling. Koho, how do you feel like tonight you will do?
I don't think I'm coming last. I might come last. I don't know if I'm coming last. It's going to depend on if Kung Pao sinks Jake enough. But I think a solid third place would be nice. But we'll see how it goes. A lot of my list would have actually changed by the end of this. Not necessarily a lot of it, but there's a lot of like picks that I regret not having, and some movements that I would have made around placement wise that I wish I had. But otherwise, most of my list I feel really good about. So,
what letter grade? Follow the rules.
Letter grade, C+.
Okay, Kirk pretty much won most of the weeks of this show. There was a couple weeks that you were not. How do you feel like you're going to do tonight? How do you feel about the personal top 100? Do you think you're going to have some, hopefully some of most influences from you, or do you think this list is going to hold up through the test of time, I guess you would say?
I think it's a hold up. I'm looking. I feel good. I put a lot of thought in this week about what my grade would be. I feel like it's I'm probably gonna be somewhere like the B range, B minus, maybe. I don't know. I think in your eyes I got a lot more right than I got wrong. So we'll see.
Jake, I don't know how they grade things in Australia. I'm hoping it's still by the same grades. How do you feel like you're gonna do tonight?
Well, I have fun. It was a good time. Well, I mean, I knew this before we did the top 100. But it just feels like it's more gratifying to know that Cody and I's tastes are very, very, very different. You like structure, and I like weird shit. But as far as a grade, I have a couple of good picks in my top 100, and I think that will get me up to being a C minus.
Okay. And unfortunately, another week, another Boatman. I don't know who's going to possibly be here, but Boatman, how are you going to do tonight?
I'm sorry. Surprise! Just kidding, everybody. My internet is actually good. My internet.
I wish it wasn't good.
Fair enough. I am in a different location, mainly because my power went out. And then the power came back on, but my internet at my house is still not here. So I am at a friend's house using their internet. So here we go.
That's called dedication.
What grade I think I'm going to get? I think in general, each week, Cody liked between 7 and 9 of the movies on my list. So average that. That's about 80%. Between 7 and 9, 8, so 80%. There's a math lesson for you. Koho needs that. So I think I'm going to get a B minus.
B minus. All right. So basically, why we got some people trickling in the chats, just to let everybody know, new rule on YLS moving forward. Your lists have to be sent a week before the show. Me and Koho are going to do a good enough job of letting you know way in advance of what the shows are, so you don't have any excuses. We'll also post this probably on the Facebook page tomorrow. But next week, it has to be submitted by tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the end of the day, movies that deserve sequels. If you're a night owl and you send it at 5 a.m., still fine, whatever. As long as it's in there and we can go off this. Next week's not as important as the other weeks because people want to watch movies that you actually have on your list so we can judge them, and Kirk is one of those. So best 70s, next YLS, do that night. If you're not there, you can't be on. Just how it works. Week after that, director actors combos represented by one movie. So if you pick Spielberg and Hanks, got to pick a movie. And the next one would be Boatman. Have we decided? Is it Walken?
We have not.
Okay. So it will be put on the channel. Hopefully tomorrow we'll come up with an idea, and it can be put on it tomorrow so he can start taking lists. By the way, you can send them in really early. It's fine. Bell's film scores, whatever. No comic book. I think we decided on no comic book because of comic books coming. So just keep it some other film score. And then we got best 2010s movie scenes, no comic book also. So do not send me Portals. It will not get on the list. The one after that, best musicals represented by one song. That is movies or Broadway shows, right? No.
Correct. Any musical that can be Broadway or movie, off Broadway, stage show, whatever. Fuck it. Give me your list with the soundtracks and whatever. Represented by one song. I've only got one person confirmed for that. So
yeah, it's me.
Yep.
And also there's comic book, top 40 comic book. I'm still taking on list right now. I think I have some people on the panel. I don't know exactly. I want the most diverse one possible. And there's some on there. Yikes. Also, what was it? Movies that deserve sequels. I have 3 people signed up. I need one more. So send me a list. Have some fun. TWOHIG'S going to be on there. So it's going to be a blast. All right, so basically how the show's going to work tonight, guys, just pretty much a recap. So if you guys got questions for the people on this panel and why they hate film, save them. We'll talk to you at the end. Bring it on. Even we might do some crazy thing like send a link out and let you come on the show and let you talk to the person live and get yelled at by Koho. It'll be a fun time. So we're going to recap everybody's top 100s. That's basically how we're going to start the show. So we're going to kick it off with hop few, skip a few. I'm going to start with Koho. We'll do Koho's first. So Koho, let's see your lovely graphics that you created and take a trip down memory lane.
All right, we're going to go 100 to 1. So there you go, 100 to 64. A lot of lovely films in here.
Standouts I'm seeing. Amazing Spider-Man 2. We got Real Steel in there. We got Monsters University.
Monsters University, Jesus Christ.
Sky High.
Never
forget
forget
that.
Sky High.
Oh, wow. And
the movie where they have sex to Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah.
That is on here. So moving on to the next 63 to 31. That was Watchmen. 63 to 31. Some better films.
We got a little bit better over time. We did. Hail Caesars at 41. Why I see 12 Angry Men's at 53 and Sunset Boulevard 52. That makes me want to jump off a building.
Draft Day above Moneyball.
That did happen as well. All right, and we're gonna go
30 to 1, baby.
Didn't get much. They got a little off track and got back on track. 19 and 18 will still make me want to puke. And no one can forget about 4. No one can forget about 4. It's a beautiful moment. Is it a film? Is it not a film? The debate will continue. So Koho, basically, have a little Q&A time with you.
Yeah.
What are some things you would change looking at your list now, and some things that you would add?
So things I would change. My biggest change is Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest would move from being my number 12 to my number 2. After the last rewatch, I realized how much I really love that one, and it finally it's always been that thing with Curse of the Black Pearl, where it's which one do I like more? Where do I position them? And I think this was the time where I was I think Dead Man's Chest is my favorite. I think that's better than Curse at times. So I was we're gonna put that one up, and then I really thought of it. No, this is my second favorite movie of all time. The more I think about it, so that would go up to 2. Finding Nemo would be my 11. That would move all the way up. That's is my favorite Pixar movie of the bunch. I'd also move Ratatouille into my top 20. Little Miss Sunshine would be into my top 20, or would be my number 22. Sing Street would have moved from my 5 to my 25. Would have taken a pretty big dive down a little bit. Sunset Boulevard would have moved all the way up to 39, and 12 Angry Men up to 44. Life of Brian went down to 33. Moneyball would be higher than Draft Day, for sure. Movies that I added, Her would have made my top 70. I really, really like that one. Do the Right Thing would have been my number 84. Also, Arsenic and Old Lace, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Back to the Future all should have been on here. They all are on here now. Hindsight being 2020. I also, last minute change, Paddington 2 would have been in my top 100 in the 91, 93 slot. Like, last rewatch, fuck, that movie's like a better version of Grand Budapest. I love it a lot. It's so much fun. And it's just utterly delightful. So yeah, that would have been on there. And the very last two changes I had were Apartment would have made it on the first watch at 96, and Sideways, after I thought about it, would slide in at 100.
Okay, fair. We're going to go to Kirk next. Kirk, let's take a journey through your list.
Good.
I know this first one's going to everybody just look at 92 for a second. 92 is the only one. There.
I regret nothing.
Hey, you should.
Yeah,
you should. We'll find out. We'll find out in the grades later. You still have a movie called Run, Fat Boy, Run, which I feel personally attacked, but I know that's not about me. But it's still like I didn't know that movie existed until you brought it up. Jaws. Were you the only one with Jaws?
No, I think
I had Jaws higher.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure we're fine. But you had some really great ones near this. You started. I don't think you really had I think you won like the first.
I think a
couple weeks.
4 or 5.
Yeah. So then we're going to go on. Troll Hunter. Yeah, that's a little interesting.
Okay.
You surprised me with Anchorman. Then you had Napoleon Dynamite. It got a little weird for a second. But One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The Graduate. You were the only one with Graduate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a moment. Yeah, still starting strong. 38 was a ding in your armor, but that's fine. And then 20 was definitely a ding in your armor. And where was the other? 14 was a ding in your armor. But overall, I think you had a really good list all the way up. Basically, anything you would change, anything you've seen during quarantine that you actually another viewing that would have changed your mind. How do you feel about your top 100 now after all these weeks gone by after sending it so long ago?
I felt good. I mean, like top, 90 through 100 could change. Those could move around a lot. Other movies could probably come in. Those are the ones, my 90 to 110 are probably pretty interchangeable. But I know some movies, Cool Hand Luke I had at 84. And I didn't actually go back and rewatch that. I haven't rewatched that in a while, actually. But I did go and watch some video clips and just some clips of it to kind of refresh my memory on it. And just doing that, I realized if I had to rewatch the entire movie before the list, that probably would have been a lot higher.
That's great.
My 2 and 3 are always interchangeable. Like I said, Goodfellas was 2 forever, and Dog Day just kind of leapfrogged it. But I think probably with those two movies, it would be whatever movie I watched last would be in the lead. Just going through, I didn't do as much work on it as Koho did. I don't have like numbers where stuff would be.
Yeah, Koho produces.
I also always have that list living and moving. So.
Yeah, but
he's only seen 130 films, so
exactly.
It's constantly changing.
Unforgiven at 60, that was actually a late addition for me, and that could possibly be a little higher on another, given another rewatch. 61, Avengers Endgame. Again, I see that dropping down. The more I watch it, but I'm still pretty high on that. So yeah, I mean, other than that, the one thing I had Duck Soup as my representative as the Marx Brothers movie. I recently rewatched A Night at the Opera, which is what I hadn't seen in years, and I think now Night at the Opera would probably be on the list. And as far that's pretty much as from what I could tell stuff. Any kind of major changes there would be. I don't think anything else would move around too much. But as far as additions, the one thing I rewatched during it was actually while we were doing the list is Bad Times at the El Royale, and I know Koho had that on his list, and I was mad because it was in his bottom 3 for the week, so I couldn't talk about it. But I think last year when I did the list, it was either on it or had very close consideration. It was a finalist this year. After this rewatch, it would probably make my top 50. So that one really shot up. A couple other ones I watched more recently. I saw The Color Purple for the first time. That could play sneak in somewhere in the top, 90 to 100. Just this week, I watched The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert
Yes.
Ford. That has a really good chance to make it on this next year.
So good.
What else did I watch here? Yeah, that's pretty much it that I've watched recently that would make the list. But again, like I said, anything that's in the Back to the Future didn't make it this year. Die Hard didn't make it this year. But those are all very much bubble movies that can next year pop back on there.
That's fair. Oh, Jake, let's take a journey. Let's take a wonderful journey on your list. You put the bet right font. I'll tell you, that's about how I felt staring at it. So 99 Departed, Reservoir Dogs, Unbreakable, Apocalypse Now. You started really good. Let's go to your next one. And then 91 happened. 86 happened. 79 happened.
Can we talk about the fact that 91 happened after I had Jurassic Park at number 2 and Jake criticized us all for being too lowbrow?
That's 100%
I
true.
didn't say lowbrow. I did not say lowbrow.
Let's take a trip. Let's take a trip to 59 and 60. Those happened.
Those are great.
Koho's favorite movie on your list, 56. I remember that lovely time that we all lived through. Also, a lot of people were saying that you were one of the worst people because you put trilogies all on your list, taking up 3 spots, and then you did it 3 times. But overall, weird list, but it's going. Next one. I think overall, not to give it because I was going to talk about this, but I'd say 23 is one of the movies that I am so happy that I finally got to see, and I probably would have seen it at some point, but your list forced me to see it sooner, so I appreciate that, and I think Boatman had it too. 35, I'm just that movie is just
that movie's amazing.
It's fine, but man, that movie's just getting talked about. 34 is an abomination. Spider-Man, of course, made some appearances, so. A Requiem for a Dream. I don't think you like life sometimes. Like that's a bold choice.
36 is also pretty big. 36.
Yeah, you did the best at selling that movie ever.
Can you explain that one again, please, Jake?
No, we're not doing that. 34 is
to the top 10 to gold.
All right. So now we'll go to Jake. Jake, looking back on it. Would you change anything? Has anything that you've seen, would it burst on your list? Stuff like that. Like, how are you feeling after submitting your list that long ago?
Kirk put it perfect. From 31 to 100 is where it kind of could change at any point. I like all those movies. It's just it really just depends on how I feel on a certain day. I wouldn't change anything too drastic. Everything to me at least feels right. I may put Parasite up a bit more. I'm going to see it again in a couple of weeks, so that will probably go up a couple more slots. Yeah, I don't really feel like anything needs to be changed that significantly. I think it's for what it represents on me. I think it's fine. Quarantine has not really affected me the same way it's affected everyone else here. Australia is not as fucked as the USA. So I really haven't experienced anything as far as watching movies in quarantine. I'm still working, so lucky me, I guess. But films that I've kind of just first-time viewings or movies that I've rewatched but had already sent my top 100, so I couldn't add. I do think that 12 Angry Men is probably going to make my top 100 in a few months or so. I probably want to give that a watch. I mean, props to Boatman on that one. He made me rewatch that one for the paddle match, so I definitely kind of want to consider that in my top 100. I watched De Palma's Blowout with John Travolta in March. I really think that's probably going to that's going to be in my top 100. I want to give that one a second viewing, and I feel like that would make it pretty high in my top 100. A couple of just random ones that you would kind of get from me. The Beach. I'm more inclined to think of that as a guilty pleasure, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think I just really love that movie, the Danny Boyle film with DiCaprio. I'm like the only fan of that movie apparently, but that's a movie I kind of want to add. What is this on? Oh, yeah, Witness for the Prosecution. I think if I give that one a second viewing, that one definitely I need to add a couple of classics. There's just a couple that I really want to rewatch, but that could definitely be my top 100. And then yeah, I think that would probably be it. But yeah, that's I'm pretty happy with my list, but there's a couple that definitely I would like to add.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Witness for the Prosecution, I was looking at, we were talking to Multiplex of movies about Ben Affleck directing films, and it's in his upcoming projects for Witness for the Prosecution. Please don't make it. Please don't touch it. I don't want to see anybody touch that movie. That does not make me happy at all. But I was going to bring it up last time, but I didn't. All right, Boatman, you'll get a little bit more time on this because we brought in Nazario and we brought in Tim, but I don't feel like they did justice to your top 100, your top 10 at least. So it's going to be rapid style because I can't spend it all forever. But we're going to go through your top 100 right now. Your bottom half of the list, not bad. I don't think there was anything like weird. 94 for Lion King, too low, but that's obvious.
I at least had it.
Yeah, at least you had it. That's true. The Departed, A Few Good Men, Butch Cassidy, and Sundance Kid. Yeah, The Player. That's one that I really appreciate you putting in your list. That is a game changer in movies. I can't wait for more rewatches of that one. I really enjoyed it. Next over there, The Killing. Also, I will also stand by. That's great. There was one more that I saw. Where's that? Doubt, 46. Another great addition. Lost a lot of sleep that night. I was warned, but I still did it. Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I mean, you had some really good. You had some when you went bad, you went bad. But when you were good, you were great. So like Scott Pilgrim wanted to beat you to death. Magnolia wanted to hurt you, but like it was very few and far between that you had those. Next ones. You're I think the top 35, I think you did really well. There was a few like 9, 8 you weren't on the show, but I hated that movie. 26. Everybody knows how I feel about that. Apparently Joseph Olivas says that's the worst take ever. Whatever. All right, so Boatman, you're gonna a little bit more time. Let's talk about some movies on the top 10 that why you put them on there, why you like them so much, and we'll get back to what you changed and stuff later.
Yeah. 500 Days of Summer, like that's partially honestly, it's partially personal. That is a movie that got me through a really rough breakup. And that's a movie I go back to a lot. And I think that's a movie that I like more every time I watch it because I think the more you watch it, the more you realize that the movie's kind of critical of both characters. Like the biggest criticism I hear of that movie is Tom Hansen is kind of the worst, which I agree, and I think that's what the movie's kind of trying to say. And it just legitimately has one of my favorite scenes ever, the expectations versus reality sequence, which I just love. And I think the soundtrack is just killer. My 7 is Almost Famous. That's just a great soundtrack, great characters. I love Billy Crudup. I think that one's kind of a given. 6, I think, is one of the most Boatman movies ever. It's The Way, Way Back. It's Sam Rockwell being Sam Rockwell at his most Sam Rockwell. And Steve Carell is maybe just one of the most hateable characters in movie history in that. I think you're a 3. Like that. And that's also another one that just a lot of the elements in that just really hit close to home for me, like personally. And I really like that movie a lot. And I think the cast is amazing. I really love Allison Janney in just about every scene. My 5 is Dazed and Confused, which I think is it's one of the great ensemble comedies ever. I mean, there's a reason that was like the kickstart for so many careers. It's just fantastic, and there's a reason people remember it. Royal Tenenbaums, I get that it's not for everybody. I totally understand. It is not for everybody. I absolutely love it. I love the style. I love the visuals. I love the comedy. I think it's a hilarious movie. And I love like just the dynamic between the family. I love movies about families in general. And I love Chaz Tannenbaum. Like Ben Stiller's character is probably my favorite in the movie, and I love his dynamic with his father. I think that relationship is really interesting. And I think Gene Hackman is giving the best performance of his career, like of his amazing career. I think that's his best performance. I think he is fantastic. And yeah, I think that's a movie about very flawed characters who need to come together to realize that they're flawed. And my top three, like those could change at any point, but I'm happy with this order. 3, Social Network, just one of the most amazing, well-written scripts ever, and the breakup scene alone is amazing. Inception, one of my favorite science fiction movies just ever made. I think it's amazing. I'm glad I'm the reason Cody watched it for the show, because that movie is just incredible. It's the movie that made me love movies. That is the movie that I saw. That's the without Inception, I'm not on this show. Like I'm not in this community. That's the movie that made me like look up who Christopher Nolan was. And that's how I found like Screen Junkies. And that's how I found Schmoes Know. That's how I found Schmodown. That's how I found Multiplex. And that's how I got here. So that
I bet a lot of trivia players wish you never found this community, but that's
fair. I guess
I'm very happy.
Well, I'm happy too, but if not, somebody could be wearing a belt other than him. Go ahead.
Fair. I guess Multiplex hates me. Callbacks. And my number one, 12 Angry Men, it's a movie that it used to not be my number one, but it's a movie that I think about every time, and I just get something absolutely new about it every time I watch it. I like to, whenever I watch it, I pick one character and I focus on that character throughout the entire movie, because every performance, every character is so like incredibly well written. Like every time I watch that movie, I want to watch it 11 other times and focus on somebody else, because that's what makes movies great, is characters. And I love dialogue. I love conversations. And I just love everything about the back and forths in that movie. I love that it's a giant debate match is essentially what it is, but everybody's like emotional, and the different reasonings about which character votes when is like incredible. If you really think about like how it pertains to them of when specifically they vote, like just watch a certain character the next time you watch that movie and think about, okay, why is this the point that they're changing their vote? It's just incredible, and I love everything about that movie, and it's my number one. It's my favorite movie ever made.
So now, I know we spent a lot of time on you, but anything that you would change about your top 100 now, looking back on it?
Yeah. The only change to my top 10 is I would actually boot Groundhog Day out of there, put that at 11. Nothing against Groundhog Day, but I have a new number 7. And that's Little Miss Sunshine. I rewatched it again, and I realized that movie is just a movie that I love. And it was this most recent rewatch that I just realized that I love everything about that movie. And that's what got it into my top 10. The only movie that I watched, and after I watched it, I felt like it didn't deserve to be in my top 100. It's not a bad movie. It's still a really, really great movie, in my opinion. I don't feel about it the same way Cody does. But I don't love Ghostbusters as much as I did. Ghostbusters, I rewatched it again in Colorado, actually, because it was on cable. And that movie, still has those really great elements, but it didn't quite hit as much as I remembered it hitting. So that one falls out of there for me. I still think it's great, but I just didn't quite love it as much as I did. And then there are 7 movies that I watched over the course of that we were doing this show that I was just like, yeah, these 7 movies are going to be in my top 100. And those 7 are High Fidelity, which is amazing. And it's a movie essentially about the way that we kind of recontextualize our life through pop culture, which is something that I think kind of speaks to everyone here. And I think anyone who plays trivia or just loves pop culture, loves movies, loves music should watch it. I think that's amazing. The Graduate, I said on the show, would have made my list had I seen it sooner. That was just one of my big blind spots. High and Low, Akira Kurosawa's High and Low, absolutely fantastic. I love that movie. I would also put The Odd Couple, another one from Kirk's list I watched recently. Amazing. Network, another one from Kirk's list that I watched before, and I talked about that then.
We're catching a trend.
Yeah. And then Network, and then Broadcast News. Broadcast News, which, thank you, Andrew Barr, because that movie is the most Boatman movie ever made. It's Holly Hunter and Albert Brooks, and Albert Brooks is like, he's Albert Brooks, and he's giving the best acting performance of his career, and that movie is fantastic.
Was there one more? You said, I don't know.
Oh, did I say 7? I must be forgetting one then. And After Hours, the Scorsese movie.
Right, you're welcome, Boatman. I don't know how Barr can take credit for Broadcast News. I understand why, but it's Albert Brooks. Weren't you going to get there at some point anyways?
That's true. That is true, especially considering that's his only Oscar nomination. But it's like you with Good, Bad, and the Ugly. We got you there fast.
That's true.
Yeah, After Hours it's one of Scorsese's best movies, and if you haven't seen it, I would recommend.
Well, we're going to do something that I like to do is stop Bowman from talking. All right, so guys, this was a journey, I would say. We had some fun times. I think we all got to know each other a lot better over this journey. But the moment that everybody's been waiting for, here it is. It's going to be your top 100. And now, your 100 through 91 is... So we have Rocky, The Departed, Dr. Strangelove, Moneyball, Magnolia, Seven Samurai, Singing in the Rain, Match Point, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back. So, panelists, what should not be there? And tell us why.
It's fucking Magnolia. Fucking goddamn.
The Last Jedi.
Magnolia.
Can I agree with both of those, please?
Hey, Kirk, to save an argument,
Pick a side.
Magnolia.
Pick a side.
Magnolia.
Okay, so
of all the movies I've seen, I actually like all of those that are on the list.
I think it's interesting to see. Like, luckily, Empire still beat out Last Jedi. Like, that's great for internet's sake and everything. Glad it did. For Magnolia to be over The Department, I really just want to punch my computer right now because that just
and Rocky
and Rock. Well, I've always been on the difference. Yeah. So yeah, Magnolia should go. Surprise! Welcome to a new thing. Cody gets to veto one movie out of the top one. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys.
You're gonna use it now? A lot more movies to look at here, man.
It's all right. Magnolia is worth it in my head. All right. So, guys, 90 through 81 is we have Back to the Future, Punch Drunk Love, Life of Brian, Catch Me If You Can, The Odd Couple, Adaptation, Steve Jobs, The Piano Teacher, Finding Nemo, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So, what does everybody else think about that?
I'm a little disappointed that Back to the Future is this low on the top 100. I think that's kind of insane. But other than that, I think everything on there that I have seen, I like.
Yeah, I have no problems with the top 10 on that one. Maybe like Brian.
Honestly, yeah, I don't have any problems with the ones I've seen either.
Yeah, overall, not a huge issue. Life of Brian should should sniff this top 100. That's an abomination. Okay, let's move on, guys. Next one. We have The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Tombstone. Spider-Man 2. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's a Wonderful Life, Defending Your Life, Your Name, Clue, and The Incredibles. How are we all feeling about that set of movies?
It's weird that the best superhero movie is only at 77. I would have thought that would have been like much higher. I mean, that's just
Jesus. That's wild.
What was ahead of? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is sitting where it's sitting in comparison to Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Me and Boatman had that in the top 100. I'm surprised it's like not higher. To be honest,
It's about positioning.
It's positioning, points value. Everything gets a point value regardless where you put it. There's a lot of math that went into this. The one that I need to still see is Your Name on there. I still need to watch Your Name. It's been on a few lists. I need to check that out. Anything else about that one that bugs anybody?
Watch it back up for a second. There's something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Clue. Clue got to go.
God damn it.
Yeah, I might do that. If you had to veto one thing off this section of movies, tell us what the veto would be.
My veto would be Spider-Man 2.
Okay, Boatman?
Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I'm sorry, Cody. I like all the ones I've seen. I'm sorry.
Jake?
I don't think I would. Of the ones that I've seen, I'm happy with.
Well, welcome to the show. You don't get to choose. You have to pick one.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
And Kirk, you'd say Clue?
Clue, yeah.
All right. Next, Clue is... We have Megamind, Lilo and Stitch,
Rubber.
Lifeboat, Spirited Away, Cars, Lady Bird, The Shining, The Master, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. All right, everyone. What's one you're taking out of that?
I haven't seen it, but Rubber needs to go.
Same. Rubber's got to get the fuck out of here.
There's what? Well, I'll save that for later. No, Cars got to go.
As much as I don't like,
there's a movie that features car tires on this list that needs to go, and it's not Rubber.
as much as I don't like Lady Bird, Cars is much worse of a film than Lady Bird.
Oh, yeah, Lady Bird's got to go. That one's got to go. Cars, I'll take. It's at least short. All right, what's your next one? The next ones are Yojimbo, Spider-Man, Call Me By Your Name, Groundhog's Day, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Suspiria,
Suspiria, Hack.
500 Days of Summer, Hell or High Water, and Creed. You actually did the classic one instead of the one that he would have put, but it's not a real big deal.
To be fair, when I put together the graphic, I just assumed he didn't have a year by it on his list. I just assumed it was the old one. It's Jake.
Okay.
You didn't pay attention when he talked.
I did. I also made that before he said the remake. So
that's right. What is everybody's thoughts on that section, and what's one movie you take away?
I'm sorry, Spider-Man has to go. It's not bad, but Spider-Man's got to go.
Watch it and just have some drinks, and you'll have a good time. Take it from me.
20. I'm only allowed to be miserable.
That's fair.
With one huge exception, all the movies I've seen on that list are really good, or at least pretty good. So for the most part, leave it alone. But I think it's pretty obvious which one needs to be off that list and buried in a hole somewhere, never to be seen again.
Yeah, Monty Python needs to go. And Koho?
Spider-Man. Spider-Man gotta go.
You're fucking nuts. Can you bring up the 10?
I'll bring it up again. Of those that I've seen, Spider-Man gotta go.
I mean, 500 Days of Summer.
I would probably say 500.
I haven't seen 500 Days of Summer, Suspiria, or Yojimbo, so I've seen everything else, and of those, Spider-Man gotta go.
I like all these, to be honest. Like,
that's also the name of the show. This isn't Hold Your Hands and Enjoy the Time.
No, fuck you, Jake.
Cut something. All right, next one. Trainspotting, The Truman Show, Elephant, The Way, Way Back, Jaws, Memento, Dazed and Confused, The Godfather Part 2, Run, Loyal, Run, and Hamilton. Thoughts of everybody? Now we're getting the nitty-gritty. We're getting the top 50. So let's go in some in depth in here. What should not have made this list? What is the biggest sins for these movies?
My favorite thing is that Hamilton is above The Godfather Part 2, Jaws, and Memento, and I'm just sitting here looking at Kirk relishing it.
As far as what shouldn't be on the list because it's not a movie, it's Hamilton. As far as what shouldn't be on the list because it's terrible, it's Dazed and Confused.
What? So, just real quick, let me go around to the panels real quick. Is Hamilton a movie? Koho.
No.
Absolutely.
Boatman.
Koho, plug your ears. No, it isn't.
I'm coming to Iowa. Don't
Kirk?
piss me off.
Like I said last week, in the fact that it's on film and it's moving pictures that people stare at on a screen, technically it's a movie, but no, it's not a movie.
And Jake says that. Okay. What about everybody else? What is everybody else? So Kirk gave his thoughts. What about somebody else? Go ahead and talk about it.
You know,
What
on this
should not be
panel, Andrew Barr, shut up.
I mean,
You can bring up the list again so everybody can
if
see that
we're
we can still
counting
hear everybody.
Hamilton if we're counting Hamilton as a movie, then honestly, Train Spotting, even though I like that movie, it's the one I least like of the ones I've seen. But if we're not, then Hamilton.
Jake?
I'm with Kirk on this one. Dazed and Confused.
So I've seen 4 of the movies on here, and I like all 4 of them. But if I gotta pick one to go, it's The Truman Show.
Oh,
I really like
Did you what you've seen The Godfather, Jaws?
No. I've seen Hamilton, Jaws, the way back in The Truman Show.
You haven't seen The Godfather?
I've seen Godfather
That's
1,
part
not Part 2.
That's part 2.
Oh my god. Okay.
I told you I've never seen
He's
Part
only
2.
seen 130 films, okay?
I've never seen The Godfather Part 2.
Next ones, everybody. I don't think he
That's a
watches
big
my show,
next.
so I don't think he's going to worry about it. American Beauty, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, The Lion King, Donnie Darko, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Star Wars: A New Hope, The Prince. I just had a brain fart. The Princess Bride, Children of Men, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Almost Famous. So, guys, how are we feeling about that? I personally, looking at this one right now for my input, I have zero issue on it. I don't like Donnie Darko because of my sister. Not saying it's a bad movie. And I watched New Hope this week.
reason.
I did not have New Hope gets a lot of praise because it was first. I don't think that movie's as great as a lot of people say it is. I watched Empire later. Empire is way better than that movie in my opinion. But overall, that list, that one, besides Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because it's so new, that's a pretty strong top, 40 to 31. What does everybody else think?
Yeah, this is the first set of 10 that I've seen, all 10. And I'd say, Donnie Darko just kind of isn't for me. But I would, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse got to go because that's so highly rated. That doesn't belong in that spot.
A part of me wants to say Lion King, but I kind of agree with Kirk and say Spider-Verse.
I already wrote down your guys' grades. Do not make me change it.
I think the one I gotta go of those is American Beauty. I like all the movies that I've seen in there. I just think of the movies in there, while I think American Beauty is really good, it's not a movie that I think I would go back to very often just because it doesn't. It's great, but that's not a movie that I want to watch over and over and over. It leaves you feeling a little gross. So
not every film is like that, but that's okay.
The first time shock is something that stands. I don't know how we'll do on rewatch. I agree with that. That's a fair assessment. And Lion King, just to let you know, Lion King's 80 minutes. So guess what? If you hate it too bad, it's over.
Lion King is a perfect fucking movie, Jake.
A New Hope for me.
Yeah. We're watching it back, man. Freaking Luke Skywalker's a whiny bitch. Okay.
Station for
everybody got mad at Anakin, but good lord, he's just he's just acting like his dad. Okay. Or his son, I should say. Okay, so what's the next chunk? Avengers Endgame, Sing Street, The Shawshank Redemption, Little Miss Sunshine, King of Comedy, Parasite, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Baby Driver, and Django Unchained. I just will skip that 22 for the sake of everybody. Overall, I like this list. I think the three that stand out to me that are problematic. Oh, Baby Driver being that high is a little crazy to me. Being over the Shawshank Redemption and Parasite, even I think Parasite should be way higher than some of these movies. Just even the recency, I think it's one of a perfect movie. Sing Street and Endgame is for me. I think Endgame is like 5 or 6 on the MCU scale. But overall, not a terrible list. I think a lot of those movies are just too high, if I was to say, on the overall.
Did anybody else besides me have Endgame on their list?
Me. It was my 30.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I had it about 30 spots higher than you. But I'm also
it's his favorite MCU. So
yeah, it's my favorite MCU. I would say the one of those that gotta go of the ones I've seen is actually Sing Street. Like that's like I put that high, but like of those, my least favorite movie in that group is probably Sing Street. But I still love that fucking movie. So
for me, it's Endgame.
I would also say Endgame.
I like all 10, but I'd bounce Baby Driver.
I'm shocked. Okay. Next ones. Sunset Boulevard, Stand By Me, The Dark Knight, Whiplash, Dog Day Afternoon, The Big Lebowski, Birdman, Amadeus, Pulp Fiction, and Goodfellas. All right, we're in the top 20 range. I will speak. I just watched Sunset Boulevard again this week. That movie is perfect. If whoever has a problem with narration, I don't care. That movie is great. It needs it. It drives it. I think that movie is absolutely perfect. And for it to be as old as it is and still have so much like did she win the Oscar?
No one won an Oscar for their performance in that movie, which is a travesty.
What? I'm sorry. What was it?
Gloria Swanson should have won, and William Holden should have won.
Yeah,
I think she is giving like a performance that it's literally Nazario called it the nicer version of Misery, which makes me want to just like no, not even close. Like I understand because he doesn't hobble Wilden, but she shoots him like. But I think the narration, the first time it did bother me. The second time I liked it more. So I think Sunset Boulevard is perfect. Big Lebowski shouldn't be on there. I don't think. I think that movie's bad, to be honest with you. But everything else, I have no problem. Dark Knight's not a shocker for 18 in this community. Like, I expect that movie to always pop up whenever I bring up anything. But it's just not a good Batman movie. It's more of a Joker movie. So, what does everybody else think?
Just about everything in here is on my top 100, so I'm happy with it. But if I just pick out one to take out, maybe Big Lebowski, but I really like that one and think it deserves to be in the top 100.
Fair.
This is tough because I do really like all the movies in here that I've seen. The only one I haven't seen is Stand By Me. The one I'd probably take out is Goodfellas. That's just because I didn't love it on first watch. I've only seen it once. I thought it was like really good. It's just I'd not. Scorsese doesn't hit for me 9 times out of 10. But that was one that I was like, I like it. I just don't love it. So
I love 11 and 12 on this list. I'll be honest with you. That's just like perfect for me.
I'd say there's only one movie on that list that I don't absolutely love, and it's Big Lebowski. So that's what I'd take out.
I love it.
So part of me really wants to say The Dark Knight. I still think that is the most overrated film ever. But as far as what has an impact, I'm going to say Goodfellas.
Rough take. All right, guys. The moments you've been waiting for.
I expect that from Koho. That's a rough take from you, Jake.
The moment you've been waiting for.
Should I play the clip again? No, I'm kidding.
No, as long as you try to put your hoodie on again. All right. Let's go. 10 through 1. The Godfather. La La Land. The Social Network. Inception. Ratatouille. Fargo. Reservoir Dogs. 12 Angry Men. No Country for Old Men. And Inglourious Bastards is your top 10 of your list. Let's spend some time on this one, guys. I will start. You must be out of your goddamn mind if you think 9 and 6 belong in this top 10. That's insane. Also, 2 should not be where 2 is. It could find to be on the list. I think 12 Angry Men, Reservoir Dogs, Fargo, Inception, Social Network, and The Godfather are all superior films to that movie right there. Kind of interesting, too. 2 Coens appeared. 2 Tarantinos. 2 we only had like 2 technically classic movies, I guess, would considered on there.
Yeah.
So that kind of like everybody had their own little input in there. So overall, how do we feel about those?
I have a question. Does anyone else have all 10 of those in their top 100?
No, definitely not.
No, there's 2 movies on that top 10 that are
Are you the only one with them all in there?
All 10 of those are in my top 100.
And that's an issue. That's the issue on the table.
So I'm actually happy with all of those. So none of them. Take out none of them is my answer.
Yeah, can we mutiny and just not say any? Like, I'm pretty happy.
No, like I'm okay, but let's talk about placement wise. Let's talk about placement. We saw what was on the list earlier. Overall, pull it back up. So I think most people would be okay with Inglourious Bastards rounding out the top 1 if overall don't have an issue, right?
That's fine. Like that's
okay.
That's like not a bad pick. I can't be mad with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that passes. No Country for Old Men 2. Do all the things that we're seeing right now is that 2 in everybody's eyes?
Yeah.
Well,
no, there are movies in my opinion.
Yes, but not number 1.
No, I'm talking about 2. In 2, we're fine with Inglourious rounding out where it's at.
Yeah.
And
2, I just believe is lower. 12 Angry Men at 3. Do we believe that 12 Angry Men is better than No Country for Old Men?
No.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Wait, did you say do we believe No Country is better than 12 Angry, or
do we believe 12 Angry Men? Do we believe No Country is better than 12 Angry Men?
No, I think
No.
I mean 12 Angry Men is definitely a solid top 3, but should be higher than No Country.
So are we surprised that Reservoir Dogs is the choice like of Tarantino? Like Pulp Fiction was on the back end; it was just barely missed, but it was 4. So who all had Reservoir Dogs? Everybody?
We all did.
I think we all did, yeah.
Okay.
We all had it at least, I think, at 50 or higher.
No, I had it in my 191, my first.
Okay, and then the rest of us had it higher because I had it in my top
20s.
20. It was in my 20s also.
Yeah, if Jake would have moved it up like a couple more spots, I think it changes the entire.
It does.
Yeah.
Jake is the only reason why it's not higher.
So is Fargo the best Coen brother? Is that what we've decided to? Oh, I guess it's not the best. It's not.
Second best.
No Country. I believe Fargo's better than No Country. Am I crazy for thinking that?
In some ways, I think it is, and other ways, I think No Country's better. But like, I think if you're going for the Coen brother movie, Fargo is the Coen brother movie.
I would say they're the 2 pinnacle of Coen Brothers movies.
Yeah,
like it's hard to like compare.
I know with 2 people here. 2 people. I know 3 people will argue on this one alone. It's fine. But Ratatouille is the sole animated film to be in the top 10.
Hell yeah!
So it's better than all Disney, all Pixar. It is from this group alone. It is the best animated movie. It is the best animated movie
Average
from this group.
So I would not pick this to be the best animated movie of all time. I would say it's the best Pixar movie for sure. Like I think it's their best. I wouldn't put it above The Lion King. I think that's Disney's best. And I think Spider-Verse is better than both those movies. So I think Spider-Verse is the best animated movie.
I would say either Spirited Away or Lilo and Stitch, but if neither of those can be there, I'm totally okay with Ratatouille.
I personally would say Your Name, but I'm happy that Ratatouille finally gets the recognition it deserves.
So here's some interesting news too. Inception, the only Nolan to make the top 10.
Makes sense.
Wild.
It makes sense that it's this one, I would say. Maybe a little shocking. This community probably The Dark Knight would have appeared if you replaced two people or something on this panel. Are we okay with Inception being the Nolan suggestion to walk out from this one?
I'm okay with it. Like I like The Dark Knight and The Prestige more, but Inception is like a really great movie, and I think like Nolan's top 4 movies are all like neck and neck with each other. I don't think there's a wide margin between any of them in terms of one being better than the others. So like I have no problem with Inception being the representative of Nolan. It's great.
Inception's probably like number 3 Nolan for me, so 7 is super high. I mean, it's not a bad movie, but 7 is super high.
Fincher
I think
also
for
got some
Nolan,
represent.
If I had my way, Memento, but like with Boatman and myself having it like high, really high on our list, I'm like happy, very happy to see this like make it.
So with Fincher got some is on the list now. At 8, Social Network, is that the best Fincher?
Absolutely.
Yes.
How?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were a big fan of Alien 3.
I'm a big. I think that Zodiac is the best. But like I'm okay. I'm okay because the Social Network will be one that always stands there for me. It's pretty high, so I have no issue. 10 is The Godfather. I just want to look over fucking 9. That fucking makes me so.
This is my favorite part of putting the list together. Was when I like finished it and I looked, and mathematically The Godfather was behind La La Land by 2 points, and I went, "That's fucking hilarious."
And that's when you go, "Thank you, Caleb Boatman and Jake Merrington."
Trust me. If
for all being awful people.
If I have to thank the Academy is Caleb Boatman and Jake Marangoni for backing me on my.
Can I do the Oscars thing? It's like, oh, we made a mistake. It's not in the top 10.
Godfather.
You guys
Godfather.
definitely did.
You're number 9.
Moonlight. Can I actually veto and put Moonlight there?
Fun fact: I was the only person to have Moonlight, also. So
that's fine. And I also call back that you had Moonlight there and all the way up as La La Land, just to show that they got it wrong.
They did get it wrong, but Moonlight's 2nd place from that year. Best Picture. 3rd place. Sorry, Hell or High Water.
Okay, and then The Godfather. The Godfather was on every thumbnail. It was the representing of like the entire thing to keep it streamlined. How does everybody feel about Godfather? I think it's because Kirk had it, right? Is anybody else have
one?
And anybody else?
Boatman's 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like on that alone, like that's an impressive that The Godfather like finished below La La Land. But overall, Kirk, how do you feel about Godfather being 10?
Behind some of these movies I can accept it. Behind Ratatouille and La La Land, no. That's blasphemous right now. We should all just get on our knees and pray forgiveness for our sins, because that's terrible.
No, I agree. Okay, so we can come back. So overall, this was a fun series. When I had the idea of doing it, it was tried before. It wasn't successful last time, and I wanted to see if it would work in a Your List Sucks format. I think it really did overall. I think we had a lot of fun. I think the right panelists showed up. But now it's time to give out grades.
Oh boy.
So I'll ask the panel how we want to do this. Do I want to announce, because normally how the show works is the person at the very end is Your List Sucks. So do I announce the winner right off the bat? Or do I
suggest do 4th, 3rd, and skip 2nd, do 1st. Make suspense between the 2 finalists. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Okay. That's fair. Actually, no, that's fine. Because I was like, I could have just start 3-2 and then leave between who could be at the top. But I think
that was fun.
But I think it'd be pretty discrepancy. But we'll see. We'll show right now. All right, guys. So I'll start in 3rd place. 3rd place.
That's not me. I know it.
With a C is Koho.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah. I know it.
You didn't in In second place, with a B, Kaleb Boatman.
I called it.
And now, the tension's here. Who had the worst?
Get ready, Kirk. Get ready for the upset.
With a B plus, Kirk Kowalkowski, and in last place, Jake the Maestro Marangoni with a C minus.
That was right. I called it.
It was pretty close. It was overall. I think overall, you all added something to my filmography that I have not seen, like something that I got to watch for the first time. And that was kind of almost the goal for the show. Like, I didn't care about views. I didn't care about like how it ran, how long it went, stuff like that. I just wanted to get on call with 4 people and talk about the top 100s and see why we became movie fans and what movies did. Yes, the show ends with a grade. Yes, it ends in, but again, it's your personal list. You enjoyed it. So if we have any questions from anybody in the panel on the over here that you want to talk about, let me know. But I think that's I think it was a great time. How does everybody else feel about how the show ran? Did they are you guys looking forward to more of this? That's something I would like the audience to do too. If you guys would want to see another one of these, I have one pre-recording right now, and it will be released in the wintertime over our holiday break. So me and Koho will get 2 months off. It's all planned for us. But it's with Nazario Montenegro, Mike Hanley, Cameron Holtzman, and Andrew Barr, and I'm hosting that one. The next one that comes on in the summer next year, will be hosted by Kirk. Kirk will take the seat. I will be on the panel. I will do the show still. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, Kirk winning is not a surprise when you know me. Kirk checked a lot of boxes. He pissed me off sometimes, but not 100% should do.
I pissed you off the least. Let's put it that way.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's fine. I think overall Jake had the list of movies I haven't seen, so that's why his grade is
that's like
not
humongous problem.
But that's also why it's not
Humongous
lower.
top.
That's also why it's not lower, because I could have hit you if I've seen some of them, because some of those definitely not Cody movies. If I watched Holy Mountain, you could have been in the Z's. I'm promising you. Did we hear best and worst pick from Cody to the contestants? Worst pick. I think Kirk's, I think it was 14, 17. Wonderful Life. I think that was one of the worst choices. Too high. Koho, 50 of the choices on his list. But if I had to narrow it down, gosh, can I get a refresher? What's your top 50?
My top, okay. Just the top 30.
Big Lebowski at 7, Sing Street at 5, La La Land at 1. Those are all just shit takes. Life of Brian, even worse. Cars at 13. Oh, grow up. You even had Cars higher than Ratatouille. I'm just pointing that out there.
I know. Because Cars is one of my favorite movies.
Jake, Crank 2, Shoot 'em Up. He can eat a carrot.
Synecdoche, New York.
Racer.
Are you looking forward to Kaufman's new film?
Yes, because the book is fantastic.
Well,
Eraserhead, but I shouldn't have saw that. I should have asked him before I saw it. Boatman, Magnolia. I heard him say it like Jeremy Adams for so long. It's really bad. Rubber was also one from Jake. That's pretty bad. Come on. Anybody else have any questions for it? Kirk did win 4 weeks in a row, so I'm not too surprised. One of the worst ones is Jurassic Park being in 92. I think that's one of the worst things to put on the list.
That's better than not on the list, right?
Frogs, Cody, frogs. That was the part that didn't take me off the most. Like that was, I understood that. I understood why. It's just the whole to get to that point. I wanted to get impaled by a frog.
I do have a question. What's everyone's favorite pick from everyone's top 100? Like, not Cody, I mean like the panelists.
Did anyone else have 12 Angry Men? That's my favorite pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
My favorite pick on Jake and Boatman's was La La Land, obviously. No, I would say my favorite pick that was on Kirk's list that I wasn't expecting, honestly, was like Avengers Endgame. Like when Endgame showed up, I was like, "Oh shit! All right, Kirk, okay." So.
Anchorman for me for Kirk. I was just like, Kirk likes to laugh. What?
My favorite Jake pick was when Up in the Air showed up. That was when me and Jake found common ground for a minute.
There was a couple of weeks where it was just like you and I were united against the pretentious, like classic film goers of Kirk and Boatman, and we're like, yes.
And I will shout out Boatman for Little Miss Sunshine because I would have never watched that without Boatman's recommendation like 2 months ago or 3 months ago now. I don't even remember. But that movie is amazing and one of my favorite movies for sure.
Is that an agreement to be in the Kingsman that you have to like agree on movies? Is that a rule?
No, it's just Boatman understands my tastes a lot better than like.
If that was
people.
the case, then honestly, there are some people that probably wouldn't be in the Kingsman.
That's true.
My favorite pick from somebody else, and I mentioned already, was Bad Times El Royale for Koho. Yeah. And just in general, I was really surprised how much crossover me and Koho had.
That's true.
I was not expecting that much. But that was when I'm trying to think of stuff. Obviously, the stuff on my list, but I'm trying to think of stuff other people had that I didn't have, but I still really liked. I'm trying to know. I mean, Back to the Future was one that I didn't have, but I mean, obviously that's a great movie.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember everybody else's list, but let me see. I wrote some stuff down.
Well, here's a.
I actually really like the Yojimbo pick, and that's a movie that like I really enjoy. And as I watch it more, it could make top 100. I just didn't watch it.
Type of field does he get his name from?
Here's a question before we get like off.
Pretty sure it's Cloverfield.
So yeah, what movies are you guys shocked that didn't make your combined list that appeared on people's top 100 list? For me, it would be Jurassic Park. Anything that you're surprised didn't make the overall top 100?
Jurassic Park didn't surprise me because I mean it was only on one list at 92, so I didn't expect to see that pop up in the overall.
Maybe hope that it would show.
Oh, hope.
I don't remember seeing Kill Bill make the top 100.
That is true.
Either volume 1 or 2.
Yeah.
You were the only one with volume 1.
Oh yeah, and then me and Bird had volume 2.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz. I had a couple of films like high, and I'm just kind of shocked.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list like around like top 25.
If it doesn't break, if it was only in your top 20, it got in because everything combined, crashing together, like putting together people who had Moneyball, people who had Godfather, like
basically how the system works is your one gets 100 basically, right. And everything else down gets the numbers after it, and then the math goes into adding them all up. So if you have basically 4 people enter at top 50, you're already getting that many points on just your top 50 movies. When you have it at 60, it's only a top 100 list, so you're gonna miss out on most.
Anything that wasn't in your top 20 didn't quite crack points wise.
The Apartment didn't make it in, did it? Or did it?
I know it did not.
You're the only one with The Apartment.
That's probably my one I wish would have gotten it.
Did Casablanca make it?
No, you were the only one with Casablanca, I think.
Oh, wow, okay. I'd say that. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? The Thing, African Queen, Killing of a Chinese Bookie. These are all stuff that I think only I had in like my top 30 range, top 20 to 30 range. That I'd like to see make it, but like I was the only one with it. So
here's another question for the panelists.
Let me go look at my updated one and see.
I mean, for me, it was absolutely Network because I had seen that one. I just forgot to put it on my list. So yeah, absolutely for me, my big I'm mad I forgot about it.
The one that didn't make my list that is highest. So the one that didn't make my list that was highest was actually Booksmart. The last time I watched Booksmart, I thought about it. I'm like, no, this is genuinely one that I would rewatch a lot, and that was the one that of all my movies that weren't on my top 100 that I submitted first was the highest on my top 100 later. So I'm a little disappointed Booksmart isn't on here because that is legitimately a movie that I do really like watching a lot.
That's like top 3 movies on my top 100 that I'm shocked that I love as much as I did on first viewing. Even like just it's insane that I would think that would make my top 100. Yeah, I can't really think of anything that I would like to add other than just like films that I first viewing this year that would probably make my list. But I don't know, maybe Spring Breakers. Honestly, I really love that movie. That was one that I had to take out because there were other movies that I wanted to add on. But yeah, I was pretty happy with everything that made it.
One movie I'm looking at was actually when I swapped out the literal last minute was True Grit, the remake. So that's what I'd probably put on my list, or could very well be on my list. Floating in those top 101 to 105 spot. But that's really there's nothing really here I'm going through that I maybe in the heat of the night is one I would put on. You mentioned witness for the prosecution. That's a good one. But yeah, I'm looking here. I think everything I needed to have on the list, I got on the list. There's nothing I really overlooked.
Okay.
Michael does bring up a good point. I was actually kind of shocked that anyone had Birdman other than me.
Yeah, all 4 of us had Birdman.
Like that's one of the 3 or 4 movies that everyone had the same movie.
Yeah, the problem with Birdman was everyone had it a lot lower than Jake did.
Where did it end up?
It was number 14.
Next one is based on what movie if you haven't already watched it, is there one that you're going to watch based on somebody's recommendation? I know Kirk at least watched one of Jake's films, so
yeah, there's one movie I watched from the top everybody else's top 100 so far, and that's Rubber.
Hell yeah! That's the impact of Rubber.
It actually isn't that bad. Like it's a fun, goofy movie. It's off the wall. So I mean, you might if you're not willing to watch it, if you don't go in looking for that, you're going to hate it. But if you go in expecting just insanity, it's kind of interesting. And I also added let me go to my watch list. I think I added 3 or 4 movies from Jake's list to my watch list. So
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I added. Let's see. Is it Tetsuo the Iron Man?
Tetsuo the Iron Man, yeah.
Mommy, I added all those to my list. So yeah, Jake was the one. I think because even if they weren't on my list, I've seen most of what Koho and Boatman had to offer. So Jake threw a lot of new stuff at me that I hadn't seen yet.
I know what I'm doing. For me, I watched what's it called? Coming to America because of Koho's recommendation. Really liked that movie. Well, just an Eddie Murphy movie I hadn't seen. It was on Netflix, so I gave it a watch, and I thought it was actually pretty good. As far as anything else, I can't really think. I think I just watched The Apartment because Cody told me to check more Billy Wilder films out, so that was one that I gave it a watch, and I thought that was great. Yeah, but I don't know. My taste in film is very different to everyone here, so it was really hard to find anything that would really appeal to me, unless I just decided to watch it on a gamble. But yeah.
My thing is I either want to watch the movie or I don't based on some of these. I would say the movie that I'm most intrigued by that I wasn't already planning on watching is The Odd Couple off of Kirk's list, just because after seeing The Apartment, I think Jack Lemmon's going to be an actor I really enjoy watching. So seeing him and Walter Matthau do comedy together, I think it's going to be fun. So
name a better duo. I'll wait. Nope. Can't.
No
cool.
idea.
There's also this one that I'm interested in. Don't guess their movie, but who do you think out of the panelists that will be on that show, who do you think will have the best list?
Okay. The best
Barr.
list in the eyes of Cody Newberry? Mike Hanley. I'm going Mike Hanley. I think Mike Hanley's going to have the most. When Hanley has movies that people have fucking seen, this guy's letterbox is massive and large, and he sees everything. So
and
just for the
it's a great fucking movie or not.
Exactly, the sheer quantity of movies that Mike has seen there's got to be at least.
I guess how many F words will be uttered on that top 100 series?
If you thought this series was bad,
It'd be
we're
like
getting,
over
we're
100.
getting explicit with those. We're guaranteed.
It makes Wolf of Wall Street look like preschool programming comparison.
Guaranteed.
I would think. Yeah, I think Hanley's going to have the best list. As far as what I think is going to have the worst list, just because of taste and I think Nazari would be close. I think you even said Nazari is the me of that panel list. I think maybe Holtzman. Holtzman's just going to have like those 2000s animated films that only like the 2000s kids have seen. Like I'm waiting for like Barnyard to make an appearance. I think that's going to just piss.
If I were hosting, Cameron would probably do better. But because Cody's hosting, Holtzman's in trouble.
Holtzman's going to make Koho's list look like Boatman's list.
Hell yeah, he is.
But no, I would say I would predict that Mike's going to win. I think Cody, you'll like his movies. As far as who I think is going to have the best list, I think Nazario. Nazario's going to have a nice blend of like mainstream stuff, some foreign stuff probably you never heard of.
He's got a lot of foreign films. I can already tell you that now.
He's going to have some really solid horror on there. So I think if I was hosted, I would put my money on Nazario. But I would say Cameron's probably going to come in last there. Or yeah, I think Cameron's going to come in last.
What was it? Will the Winters count? We're in contract negotiations right now to see if we can make that at M ranks. But they don't want to put up any money yet, so probably not.
But your list is going to be like the most generic, like the most obvious shit. I don't think it's going to be.
Who?
I know his list. I'm just saying.
Oh. No, you're probably accurate. Yeah, if you go to top AFI like 250 and throw a dart, you'll hit some of his movies guaranteed. He's a hack, so what's with he? What were you expecting to show up on someone's list that didn't at all? That's interesting. What were you? I thought there would need to be one more prior film from Koho to make it a perfect film. I know, I needed the fourth one.
Oh, fuck you. There was no fourth one on that list. Jesus.
I don't know. That's the weird thing. That's why I want to do it. The only person I know like super well when it comes to movies is probably Koho. So like Koho pretty much hit it. What maybe more comic book, or maybe more Disney animation. Like there was some like that there was not enough like animated for me that I would assume that would have probably I thought there would be more. But it's honestly, as long as I've known him now, it's almost been 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 years. But the one thing I will say is like his movie, like he's grown so much in the way in movies now. It's kind of funny to see because when you started, it was like some of those would have never made your list. There's no way.
I will say I'm a little disappointed. I don't regret the decision whatsoever. But that when we got the replacement slot, the only one I could take out because of placement, and we were talking about some of them, was the Hateful Eight, and I love the Hateful Eight. That's in my top 40. So that's what.
Ooh, that's a good one.
This is the most Michael Campbell question.
Michael Campbell and Letterboxd movie posters. They better do it.
Here we go. I'm gonna look.
Him and canceling people if he wanted to.
While we're looking that up, I would say to answer that last question, I actually expected to have a lot more crossover with Boatman. Like, and I know he mentioned already these is coming in next time, but like I expected to see like a Graduate, a Network. Maybe did you have our Second Old Lace on your list, Boatman?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I definitely expected Boatman to have that.
Did he freeze?
I think so. Yeah. Either that or he's just really bored. But yeah, half the movies I definitely expected to get yikes by Boatman.
I didn't get to answer that, but I was expecting more 2000s kids animated films from Koho's list. I mentioned I mentioned Barnyard, but like I don't know, Jimmy Neutron.
Can we take a moment to realize that Barnyard is not really a 2000s animated like kids movie that we like claim? That's like 2008, and even when we were all 8, we were like, "Fuck that movie." Who cares? Even all of us were like, "Fuck that movie." Me and Holtzman and Boatman are like, "That exists. That's not a Team 19 movie by any
Weird fucking movie, but yeah, I don't know. Just I was expecting more kids films from Co's list, but I guess you've matured in your years.
If there were any kids movies that had a shot to get in, Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, is a childhood movie that I still hold near and dear to my heart. It's not great. It's not great, but like I love it. I love that stupid little movie. Paul Barnyard is bad.
It wouldn't be a top 100 without Bowman not being able to make it through the whole show.
We're doing what? The posters?
My last guy.
It's called a Charger.
I mean, Paul does bring a good point about Barnyard. At least it's a movie.
Oh!
At least my quote-unquote non-movie is good.
I mean, it is good.
I think my favorite poster in my top 100 is Dog Day Afternoon.
Do we have to go off the Letterbox poster? Is that what
Yes, that's the official poster.
Because it's not. Because the one for The Shape of Water is not the one that was put out in theaters. It's the alternate poster of like the drawing of them in the water, but the actual poster that they have of the two of them, like the shot of them under the water, like holding each other, is actually really good. I like the Shape of Water poster a lot. Like the
poster. Yes. Also, if it's changed, Lucas said this. If it changed, Michael will tell you what the original probably was because he probably has the screen those.
He's been ready. I'll name 3. As much as it's a meme with my top 100, I really love the Crank 2 High Voltage Letterbox list. I'll just show it because I think it's great. It's Jason's face. I just think it's so good. That just says exactly everything about the movie.
If I have to go off of Letterboxd, then Michael, it's probably Fargo.
Shots still being
Mine's a movie. That's the problem.
My runner-up poster would be The Thing.
That's a good one.
My runner-up would be The Holy Mountain. I also think that also just encapsulates exactly what the movie's about, and it's just very weird. And then my number one would probably be Suspiria's poster. I just really love the simple colors. That's a good poster. And
is red important to the film?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
The No Country for Old Men poster is really good too, and Pirates too. There's a lot of good posters. La La Land. Okay.
No, La La Land's trash.
I love the La La Land poster.
Can you hear us?
Okay, I think I'm back. Yes, now I can. I would pick 12 Angry Men.
It's a good poster.
That's fair.
What movie did Koho scratch? I'll put it on the top. Yeah. No one else used the scratch, which I guess because they didn't want to be put in the same position you were. But do you regret your scratch at all?
No, absolutely not.
Do you think Hamilton will move up on your list any more than it already is? Or do you think it stays at 4? Because you famously said that La La Land will never move from your number one spot.
Yeah. Hamilton is probably going to crest at 4. Just because of the other 3.
Is it true that you've seen it 9 times?
I have indeed seen it 9 times.
Just look at his Letterboxd diary. It's insane.
Can we see how much total time is that?
Let's see. So what is 2 hours and 40 minutes in minutes? That's 160 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So 160 minutes times 9. That's 1,440 minutes spent watching Hamilton.
And do you realize that you could have watched The Godfather Part 2? Yep, that's what I'm saying. Already.
Kind of.
ALCS Game Force in my world. Didn't like that one. Lucas, yes, and you will win. I guarantee you. The greatest flip of it.
Fun fact: when Eli Boatman found out that Hamilton is on Koho's top 100, he said, "Can I put Super Bowl 50 on my top 100?"
It's fair. But yes, I've always said from this show is come on and defend your list. That's the whole point of the show. So, like, I was never going to argue with that because the internet does it for me. Again, I don't know if there's much. Oh, there's another question. If Bowman had to use the scratch, what movie would you have replaced with a different movie?
You'd have had to have removed something from your top 40.
High Fidelity.
What would you have moved from your top 40?
Oh, if I wouldn't move anything from my top 40 because High Fidelity wouldn't make my top 40.
That's fair.
You know, it has to be out of your top 40.
Yeah, that's what it was offered.
We added the scratch.
Okay. Ooh.
And it had to have been something that wasn't already yikes, because otherwise I would have probably scratched Ferris Bueller, just because that was the lowest position.
What I would have done, I would get rid of Simon Killer, which is 39, and I would probably put Blowout.
Okay.
If it could, I think this is the week afterwards that it happened. If it had been the week before, Koho said it, I would have put Bad Times on. And I may. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If it hadn't been Yikes, I would. That's why. That's the one movie I would have moved something for, and I couldn't. That's why I didn't use it. If I could have used it for Bad Times, I would have.
I mean, I think you could have. You could have put it in. It wasn't that because Bad Times wasn't Yikes. I was the only one to have it.
But I mean, I thought it was. It couldn't have been brought up yet.
It couldn't have been brought up.
Oh, then never mind.
Okay, yeah, that's. But if that would have been possible, I may have pulled like Shaun of the Dead out of the list and put Bad Times into that place.
All right, next question. Based on everyone else's list, is a movie that you'd recommend that you think they haven't seen?
Oh, I guess a movie for everyone based on their personal like or films just on their list.
I think so, yeah. A movie that they like based on what they like. What's a movie that you think they haven't seen that you would recommend them when they watch? Mine would have been, but I already made him watch it. It was Glenn Ross, and I wanted Koho to watch it, and he liked
that. Also,
it.
I forgot to say that also would have made my top 100. It was 92.
Cody, did you watch The African Queen yet?
I have not.
That's probably the one I would have you watch next.
Oh, absolutely! It's been on my list, and then I tried to become a Fandom player again. So sometimes.
And then I want everybody to watch Cassavetes movies. So I would suggest to everybody Killing of a Chinese Bookie and Woman Under the Influence. I don't know how much everybody would like that, but those are two movies I'd want to. If there's two movies on this list that I would tell you to go out, everybody go out and watch right now. If you watch anything off my list, it'd be those.
I would say just.
Good.
Go on. Okay, I was gonna say just for people to get into Michael Haneke, I think giving Funny Games, US, the 2007 film I watched, just for my liking, I think trying to get into Haneke's he's just an interesting filmmaker, and that's definitely the film you should check out first, just kind of understand what he's all about.
I think the movie I'm going to check out that I haven't seen is Casablanca. It's basically one that I need to see that has been listed numerous times. It's just one that it carries so much weight behind it at this point. I'm nervous to watch. Koho, what were you going to say?
Mine's hard because all my movies are. I'm looking for the more obscure ones on here. I think Jake would actually really like American Ultra. I think Boatman would like 10 Little Indians. Quite a bit. And I think
Kirk would like Private Eyes.
Not even kidding you, Kirk might actually like Private Eyes quite a bit. I don't know. It depends. Do you like Murder by Death, Kirk?
I have not seen it yet. I want to though.
Okay. It's kind of like it's more like Murder by Death than Clue, but it's in the same sort of vein as those two.
Okay. Is that the one with Don Rickles or
Don Knotts and Tim Conway?
Don Knotts, okay.
Okay, so I think as long as there's no more questions, they did 4 hours last week. We may let them off the hook on the final
Tim
one.
has a good question. Tim has a good question.
Who is the smile on the panel? No one.
Come on.
Probably Boatman.
I mean, it's a good spot, yeah.
Probably Boatman because he's actually happy. Like
He's got the most
his,
fun.
it's not, his is not like fake happiness half the time. It's actually real. So like, yeah, Bowman will be the best, and Tim's probably drunk. It's his birthday, so he's probably hammered. The answer is Kirk in his Joker cosplay. That's true.
Then is Aria
again, I just want to thank everybody for being on. I thank the panel, the chat for always being as active as they've been throughout this. It's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to do more of these. I'm excited to do, if the top 40 does well, I'm really excited to start doing more top 40s. It's going to be like every 2 months or every other month, because there's a lot we can go with that. Performances, actors, scenes. We can go pretty deep with that stuff. Comic book movies, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think the panel that I'm going to bring is going to be worthy. And there's some yikes list on those. So please, if you want to be on Deserve Sequel, please send me your list. That needs to happen. Any last thoughts from the panelists? Because you guys are in hibernation for a little bit. I mean, Kirk's going to host the next one, but the rest of you guys. Jake will probably be back on film scores. Bowman and Koho will be hosting another one later. Bowman's hosting his episode. So you guys are all going to be around, but panelists is going to be a little bit. So how do you all feel? Yeah. What's one movie that you suggest the audience that has been with us that they watch even if they haven't seen it or need to see it? Besides Hamilton.
Fuck.
I would say Killing of a Chinese Bookie, but anything, I'd say the two most underseen directors on my list that have movies on my list are Cassavetes and Kurosawa. So if you haven't started on them, get started. They're on. They both got a lot of stuff on HBO Max now, so nobody has an excuse anymore.
That's true.
I'm living in this really beautiful golden age where this meme came out. That perfectly summarizes it. It's from Back to the Future when Marty does the. You guys are ready for that, but your kids are gonna love it. In relation to the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, and everyone's sort of coming around on Dead Man's Chest and At World's End in a way that's really nice to see. If you haven't seen those, give them a rewatch. They're good. I think the first three are all really solid movies, especially Dead Man's Chest. But if I'm giving you one movie to watch, watch The Road to El Dorado. If you like the style of those Pirates of the Caribbean adventures, and you like two friends who have a lot of like quippy, quick, fun, jokey dialogue, I think you're gonna like The Road to El Dorado. It's a fun time.
Is that written by the Pirates guys?
It's written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio.
Yeah, I thought so.
Bowman?
For me, sorry.
Oh, Jake, go ahead.
For me,
I was gonna say
Albert Brooks' movie Defending Your Life in Modern Romance are my two. I'm sorry, I'm lagging, so it's probably me. But those
we still just can't figure how the show works. It's fine.
Too fair. This episode didn't have much of a format.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. We'll give him the bit of and Jake.
I will say probably Suspiria, just the horror movies in general. I know a lot of people don't really get into that sort of genre, and this is definitely like a unique one, and one that I particularly am a big fan of. I'm not really like a big horror guy, and this is just one that really like stuck with me and like kind of what it's trying to do. And there's a lot of layers and depth to the movie. It's on Amazon, so it's easy to find, and yeah, I highly recommend that one.
All right, well, that was our show. Thank you for being all back, coming to see it. Also, if you see these four faces, they will also appear on the pre-recorded combined list to see if their list wins out against the other top 40.
Can I just say something real quick about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
These guys doing pre-records, cowards. Go to pre-record with no live chat coming out to get you the whole time. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
What we should do is we should force them all to get on a call supervised by us each week.
Absolutely.
And have them sit there and take the live chat that is watching the pre-record.
Absolutely. But because we did this live, because we were under the gun, we were under the pressure, I'm claiming your List Sucks championship for 2020. I don't care who wins in the winter.
Nico Suave or goalie logic. Again, everybody, thank you for making this show what it is. I enjoy doing it every week. I enjoy everybody coming out and watching it. Please join us on the next 8 weeks. We have a lot of coming up, a lot of fun. New panelists that haven't been on the show before. Some panelists are going to return for the second time. So make sure you enjoy that. And yeah, it will be fun because the pre-record, I expect some people to be along with the live chat, watching along, just engaging. I think it will be a lot of fun. But I don't have anything else. You guys, thanks for being on.
This is all 5 of us. I had such a blast doing this. You know, I got ripped a bit pretty hard, but it was a lot of fun. We got to talk about movies, and it was perfect for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, again, I could not have done this without the group, and I was a little hesitant with Koho and Boatman, but it honestly worked out perfectly. So fight us, Kirk. Well, it will be a battle. We'll see. Believe me, Holtzman has some hot takes. See you next week.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
Get what you fucking deserve!
Return to your lady friend. Duncan, please return to your lady friend.
No. Hasta la vista, baby.
Here he comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. The pride of Mount Vernon.